Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Seeing Beyond and Through with Monty. Yesterday, I brought you a video about the saga of Mr. Jussie Smollett and his conviction on a hoax in which he perpetrated. Now, I want to expand on another video of Mr. Smollett, and this is going to go into a different direction because this is going to deal with desertion, about how organizations that you may be surprised of or may not be, that have completely turned their back on Jussie Smollett. And one group in particular, in which he is involved in, or I should say, a member of, a part of, have completely been silent upon this particular issue with Mr. Smollett. They have not said a word. They have not shown any support. They have not lifted a finger in the defense of Jussie. But before I go on, I want to give you a reminder of something that I said yesterday, and I still do believe it. I want you to look at these quick videos and tell me if you believe that this man is of sound mind and character, or do you believe that you are looking at someone who is suffering from some type of mental illness?
In the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this, and I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself, and you must all know that.
Smollett was then taken into custody. He's going to begin his sentence immediately, and he was also ordered to pay more than $120,000 in restitution to the city of Chicago.
I am not suicidal. I am not suicidal, and I am innocent. I could have said that I was guilty a long time ago.
I am not suicidal. No, I would just like to say to Your Honor that I am not suicidal. That's what I was about to say.
Okay.
I am not suicidal.
Okay.
I am not suicidal. I am innocent, and I am not suicidal. If I did this, then it means that I stuck my fist in the fears of Black Americans in this country for over 400 years and the fears of the LGBTQ community. Your Honor, I respect you and I respect the jury, but I did not do this, and I am not suicidal. And if anything happens to me when I go in there, I did not do it to myself, and you must all know that. I respect you, Your Honor. I respect your decision. Jail time. I am not suicidal.
Okay. Anything else today? Yes.
In light of the notice of appeal, we would ask that you suspend the jail sentence in light of the
Do what?
filing of the notice of appeal.
Did I do what?
Suspend the jail sentence in light of the notice of filing of the appeal.
That will be respectfully denied. Yes, Mark. Mr. Lewis.
In light of our notice of appeal.
No. I'm not staying. No. The wheels of justice turn slowly, and sometimes the hammer of justice has to fall, and it's falling right here, right now. I'm not staying this. This happens right here, right now. Okay. Charlotte?
I'm sorry, Judge, I know you said
Yeah, I'll talk to you about it. I'll give you those details. Okay? All right. Any other matters to come before the court today? All right. Defendants remanded to the custody of sheriff. Court is adjourned.
Okay, first and foremost, did you notice how harsh the judge was in sentencing Jussie? He just did not acknowledge or want to acknowledge the possibility that Jussie could have been sick, that he could have been mentally ill. But another group I want to talk about who completely deserted Jussie, and that is the LBGTQI. Now, Jussie is a member of that particular group, and I find it very strange and ironic that the LBGTQI can speak so much about mental health, mental illness among members of the group, and not say a word towards Jussie or in Jussie's defense, or the fact that you could be dealing with a man here who is mentally ill. Now, with the LBGTQI, it just tells me, and they come off to me as being a group that's pro-white. And that is the reason why a lot of black members of the LBGTQ community, and plus, have difficulty with them. They don't really feel a part of them. They do not feel a connection with them. The reason being is because the group has a history of racism and a history of unfairness. Yes, they can talk about discrimination that's directed towards them, but them are white members of the group. They tend to look out after the needs of white members first, which shouldn't surprise anyone because the country is solely white. But none of the major organizations that are listed here came in Jussie's defense. None of them. NAACP did. The Rainbow Push Coalition did. They came out and wrote a letter on Jussie's behalf. But the LBGTQ community, they were silent. They said absolutely nothing, knowing that members of that particular group there have high incidence of suicide, suicidal tendencies, thoughts, and mental illness. It's rampant among them, but they are very silent when it comes to Jussie. So it's no surprising that when it comes to black people or black members of the LBGTQI and their needs, that they're not going to jump to their defense. That has always been their operandus mundi, and this is pretty much how they pretty much handle themselves. They look after their needs of white members first. It's almost like black members and other people of color, you're second, third, fourth class citizen in that particular group. And that shouldn't surprise anyone. It really shouldn't. And with Jussie, going through what he's going through, in my opinion, this man is delusional. He has a fixed belief on something that he believes really happened. He seems to cannot separate pretending from acting at work and pretending in real life. He seems to cannot separate what is fact and what is fantasy, or what is reality and what is fantasy. So definitely, I believe that there is something going on with Jussie. And it's really a shame how the judge did not even take that into consideration. It's really a shame how the LGBTQ community, which is big on pushing mental health, it wants other communities to acknowledge that members of the group suffer heavily from that. And they want to destigmatize that. Not said a word on Jussie's behalf. And one thing I want to point out too, Jussie has testified that he did drugs. The accuser who he was with testified that Jussie did drugs. Now, I've heard of Jussie doing drugs way before this incident even occurred. And the drug use is very important. And the reason why it's important, because what do drugs do to the brain? What they do, they destroy part of the brain that deals with logic, common sense, and reasoning. Now, I do not know how long Jussie has been a recreational drug user, but that gives more credence to the fact that he's not all the way there. That this man, instead of getting a jail sentence, he needs to be in rehab, in a mental institution. The judge could have done that if he wanted to. It just goes to show you that if you are black, you are going to get a harsher sentence. Just like Jussie, right there, got a harsh sentence. His defense team asked, can you forfeit the jail time? The judge said no. You really have to wonder, had that would have been a white female particularly, or a white male, would the judge have been that harsh then? Probably not. It's almost like he was just so fixated on Jussie being a criminal. When many a times, if it's a white person, they're going to be fixated on getting them help, getting them into some type of rehab, getting some type of mental health in which they need. But no, he went straight for the jugular. Gave this man a sentence. 150 days in jail, 5 months, because he's seen Jussie as a criminal. He did not see Jussie as someone who needs help. All of this stuff about Jussie committing the hoax, staging that to me was a cry for help. And let me make this clear. I'm not saying that Jussie did not do that. I believe that Jussie did, in fact, do that it was staged. But hear me out. It was done and staged from a man who has mental issues. That's my point there. This man is clearly of unsound mind. He's delusional. I don't know if it was from the drugs that he's been taking. As I stated before, it affects logic, common sense, and reasoning. But something is affected there. The very fact that he was so delusional, he wanted to bring more attention or fame to himself when he's already world famous from Empire. Empire was on how many years? 4 or 5 years? And I heard too that he was in the process of getting a recording contract. I mean, from what? The notoriety he had on Empire, he could have easily started his own record label and easily sold records from website. Kind of like Kylie Jenner's doing with her lip thing. Something like that. He could have easily bypassed the big record companies. But this man was delusional. He did not even see that he was already famous, it seems. He did not really see that. I mean, he was blessed above 99% of the population, making $2 million a year. Known all over the world. He didn't see that. He wanted to bring more attention and fame to himself. How can you not see that there's something wrong with someone who does not really understand the position in which they are in life? So yes, I stand by what I'm saying, that Jussie does need to pay restitution, that Jussie does need to be held accountable for the hoax that he perpetrated. However, I do not believe that he needs jail time. I think that sentence was way too harsh. And shame on the LBGTQI community and the organizations for not coming to his defense and recognizing that one of their members is a sick man who needs their support. And that is the reason why there's a rift between many people of color and the LBGTQI community or organizations or movement, because they do not move within the same speed, diligence, concern for people of color, particularly black members of the LBGTQI communities, as they do with the white members. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Sin Beyond and Through with Monty. And I will see you all beyond and through.